mosatenga mbali mosaopaso
kuswa
kunena chilungamo kuti amalawi azitha kumaona kuti dziko lawo likuyenda mwanji
kuchapa chapani koma ife tidzitsukuluza ndi kuyanika poyera
9 o'clock tsiku lililonse kuyambira lolemba mpaka lachisanu
katsukuluza pa Rainbow Television poka basi.
Hello and welcome to Rainbow's exclusive 60. This is a 1-hour news package in which we give you the latest and verified news from our reporters across the country. My name is Catherine Montali. Thanks for joining me. Our top stories: government disowns 15 billion kwacha debt in local councils. Chakwera gives the Ministry of Agriculture 6 months to show results. More legal experts back Anti-Corruption Bureau to have prosecuted powers. Unemployed primary school teachers give authorities a 7-day ultimatum. We also have a business and a sports segment. Please stand by for the news in detail. To our top story, Treasury has refused to pay up a consolidated 15 billion kwacha debt for local councils, many which are in financial stress. Executive Director for Malawi Local Government Association, commonly known as MOGA, Hadro Mkandawili, said on Thursday that Minister of Finance, Sosten Gwengwe, aborted an area agreement between the councils and the former Finance Minister, Felix Mlusu, that required an audit of the debt before a bailout. Treasury spokesperson Taurai Banda has asked for more time before responding to our inquiry. Tuwande Luanga has more in this report.
In Malawi continue to struggle to offset a consolidated debt of about 15 billion kwacha. This has impacted negatively on some service operations. Malawi Local Government Association MARGA Executive Director Hadrod Mkandawire is worried with twists and turns as former Minister of Finance Felix Mlusu accepted to bail the councils out after an audit, but his successor Sosten Gwengwe is said to have blocked the move.
Before the process I think was completed, the new Minister of Finance, Honorable Gwengwe, made a U-turn, insisting that the former Minister of Finance, Honorable Mlusu, had erroneously pledged the bailout, because to him, I want to what Honorable Gwengwe indicated, is that there's a special cabinet committee which is supposed to approve such bailout issues.
However, Treasury spokesperson Taurai Banda has asked for more time before commenting. Mzuzu City Council, which is struggling with a debt of 2.8 billion kwacha, has been invaded by debt collectors, losing some vehicles, which the courts have on some occasions blocked their sales on auction. For Rainbow News in Mzuzu, this is Tony Luanga.
A total of 225 million kwacha is what the National Food Reserve Agency needs to carry out maintenance works in almost all its storage facilities. The NRFA Chief Executive Officer Brenda Kayonga disclosed this during their meeting with the Parliamentary Committee on Agriculture at Parliament Building in Lilongwe. Chairperson for the committee, Samir Suleiman, has pledged their support that the institution should get funding from Treasury. Rachel July with the details.
On Thursday, officials from the National Food Reserve Agency appeared before the Agriculture Committee of Parliament, where, among others, they discussed the Malawi food situation. Chief Executive Officer for the agency, Brenda Kayonga, told the MPs that food storage facilities which are managed by NFRA are in bad shape, hence they call for funds to have them rehabilitated. Kayonga said the problem has resulted to loss of 40,000 metric tons of capacity due to tilting, saying 225 million kwacha is needed to fix it. She hinted on the need for the funds to be dispersed swiftly, saying the poor shape of the storage facilities is leading to discoloration of mines. Meanwhile, the committee has assured
The Agriculture Ministry has up to 6 months to produce results for Malawians who appreciate change in the agriculture sector. President Lazarus Chakwera has given the ultimatum, saying the country does not lack a policy direction or investment opportunities, but implementation. But ministry officials cite lack of funding for certain delays, while the National Planning Commission thinks huge investments could help Malawi attain its 2063 aspirations. Leah Malikano has more in this report.
There are fears that Malawi might not be able to reach its 2063 aspirations if government fails to urgently invest in all sectors as well as implement pillar number 1 of agriculture productivity and commercialization. President Lazarus Chakwera shared the fears on Thursday when he presided over the official opening of the high-level 2-day 2022 Malawi Agricultural Productivity and Commercialization Conference in Lilongwe. Chakwera lamented that after 2 years of his administration, the Agriculture Ministry has not yet produced a single mega farm. He added he could not tolerate this business-as-usual approach flourish under his watch, giving the ministry 6 months to produce a mega farm.
Action on mega farms is not next year, it is now.
National Planning Commission Director General Thomas Montali says Malawi does not have time to waste but effect big investments to upgrade to middle-income country.
There are some very huge investments that need to happen, meaning that we need to then think about who does what and what will it take for us to do that.
But Ministry of Agriculture spokesperson Gratian Lungu tells Rainbow that lack of financing has delayed the implementation of some projects. He, however, assures that they have managed to secure funding within government to start the implementation.
Much as we may delay here and there, but this is just a starting point. We'll try to find the resources that are needed and work with different partners to make sure that we implement whatever is lined up in the 10-year implementation plan as well as the 2063.
In January last year, Malawi launched its 2063 aspirations. And later, in December the same year, the country launched its 10-year implementation strategic plan that sets specific actions, timelines, and indicators for effective contribution of the agriculture sector. This has focused investment in 7 interlinked priority areas of agriculture diversification in irrigation, farm inputs, mechanization, and structured markets, among others. For Rainbow, this is Leah Maricano.
Ministry of Homeland Security has warned contractors who are delaying completion of security staff houses under the 10,000 Decent Houses project that their contracts will be terminated. Minister responsible, Jason Leza, issued the warning at Malemia Police Camp in Mangochi when she inspected 12 houses that have been fully completed and are ready for occupation. Eric Nanchengwa from Mangochi reports.
Speaking when she visited the camp, Sendeza expressed satisfaction with the contractors working at the site for completing the works within the period given. Sendeza, however, expressed disappointment over some contractors who are delaying in completing building the houses. She says government will have an option but terminate the contracts of the contractors, frustrating the flagship project that is expected to be completed in 2025.
Yes, we have put targets now to the contractors. Any contractor who is not ready to do the construction, then he has to render that contract to others. We will not allow contractors that are derailing and are delaying in delivering to what we want to achieve at the end of the day.
Meanwhile, Eastern Region Commissioner of Police Casper Jalera commended government for completing the 15 houses, saying the development will motivate officers who were living what he called shacks. In his remarks, Group Village Head Chowe pledged to provide land whenever developments of that nature arise in his area. Out of the 10,000 houses, 4,000 are earmarked for police, 4,000 for Malawi Defense Force, 1,000 for Malawi Prison, and 1,000 houses for Immigration Department, respectively. From Mangochi, this is Eric Nanchengwa.
Fully equipping the Anti-Corruption Bureau with prosecution mandate without seeking consent from the Director of Public Prosecutions remains the only way to ensure no one is a sacred cow. Legal expert Wesley Mwafulira echoes earlier propositions by the Malawi Law Society to amend Section 42 of the Corrupt Practices Act to give the Bureau the actual independence. In the interim, Justice Minister Titus Mvalo engaged the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions and Anti-Corruption Bureau Director General to set out provisional measures on how to resolve issues bordering on consent. Wezi Nyorongo found this report read by Chimwemwe Maseko.
The need to win fighting battles against corruption is now huge than ever before, with the increasing corruption offences that have left both public and private purses drained for personal gains than national good. It is for this reason that legal experts continue to push for actual independence of the Anti-Corruption Bureau ACB by fully equipping it with prosecution powers than seeking consent on some cases, as is the law today. Legal expert Wesley Mwafulira insists this can only be achieved by amending Section 42 of the Corrupt Practices Act so that the Bureau acts on its own legal opinion as earlier proposed by the Malawi Law Society.
I do subscribe to the statement that the Malawi Law Society issued. The Malawi Society issued a statement that these offices, they just have to learn to work together. And it's been a bit strange indeed, because otherwise, as you may be aware, as lawyers, we know we've applied for these consents before. I have applied for consents several times, and maybe some of the requirements, sort of the DVP was alluding to, sounded a bit strange. So that's why I would say that it's indeed it's a bit strange.
In January 2022, the Director of Public Prosecutions, Dr. Stephen Kayuni, refused to grant consent to the Anti-Corruption Bureau to prosecute businessman Zuneth Satar's business agent, Ashok Nair, over corruption-related matters. This raised eyebrows of the public, which eventually brought out an agenda to amend the Corrupt Practices Act so that no one is seen as a scared cow in the fight against corruption. In April 2022, Justice Minister Titus Mvalo engaged the Director of Public Prosecutions and ACB Director General and that of the Attorney General so that they are working together on resolving legal matters for national good.
And the police are investigating suspected cases of theft by servant and others related to fraud at Ecobank Mzuzu branch, in which 129 million kwacha is reportedly missing. Mzuzu police station, a spokesperson for Tembo, confirmed this on Thursday, saying not so far. Branch manager John Chizuza is being held in police custody as investigations are underway. He explained that the Office of the Human Resource Department filed a complaint at the police. The latest incident follows another in February this year, in which some FDH bank officers at Nzimba were arrested in connection to the alleged theft of 102 million kwacha in robbery. And defense lawyers want the court to dismiss a state application to revoke bail for social media activist Joshua Chisambele, arguing screenshots evidence is not admissible in a court of law. Chisambele was arrested over his Facebook post, which had a fake document containing names of government officials alleged to be connected to corruption suspect Zuneth Satar. But the state claims he is breaching some bail conditions, hence its application. Rachel July has an update.
Among the bail conditions, the court ordered Chisambele not to express himself in a manner that would infringe other people's rights. Now, the police wants his bail revoked, claiming he is not complying with some of the given bail conditions. On Thursday, State Prosecutor Lefson Mangani presented screenshots taken from Mbele's Facebook page as evidence, but the defense objected to this. And speaking on behalf of Mbele's lawyer, Gilbert Konyongwa, is Sylvester Ayoba James, who argues the screenshots are not admissible in a court of law, hence their request to have the application dismissed.
But now, in trying to impress the court on their case, the state sought to rely on documents that, in the view of the defense, are not compliant with the law. For example, the screenshots of Facebook posts that they purported to tender in court were not commissioned or certified as true copies of the original documents. One, two, the state did not bring the gadgets from which they made the screenshot.
Police arrested Chisambele early this year following his Facebook post, which had a fake document containing names of government officials alleged to be connected to corruption suspect Zoneth Sata. Sata is wanted for alleged serious organized corruption crimes that have implicated some senior government officials in Malawi. The case has since been adjourned to Tuesday next week. For Rainbow, I am Rachel July.
Africa Youth Movement claims about 50% of adolescent girls in rural areas of Malawi drop out of school due to menstrual hygiene-related stigma. Team leader Joseph Sakala notes that the problem is a bit less in urban setups, mainly due to the availability of information and mindset change on menstrual cycle. Johannes Idea has the detail.
A girl who has reached puberty stage requires not less than 700 kwacha monthly for sanitary pads during menstrual cycle, which is a tall order for most rural-based adolescents. Margaret Jumia, who is a mother of 2 school-going girls in Mzuzu's Area 1B, attests struggles that scores of adolescent girls in rural areas face, which include ridicule and stigma during menstrual cycle.
There are several challenges that girls face when they are on menstrual cycle. Sometimes they do not have sanitary pads. In the end, they suffer ridicule from boys in schools.
According to Africa Youth Movement, about 50% of adolescent girls in rural Malawi drop out of school due to menstrual hygiene-related stigma. Team leader Joseph Sakala blamed it on negative mindset on menstrual cycle, which some sectors fail to understand that is natural and normal.
You know, a lot of girls that are dropping from schools, they're being victimized because of what happens to them, not by their choice, but by their by their being. You know, so we are trying to change the attitude and the mindset of people towards girls, how they perceive girls, especially when they are going through these menstrual hygiene cycles.
The movement's Malawi leader Innocent Kanyenda hopes that imparting lessons among girls in rural areas about making reusable sanitary pads can help to alleviate the challenge.
Today we have trained youth clubs and mother groups, of which we know that they would train at least 1 or 2 community members from where they are coming from. So 3 to 4 weeks from today we would follow up on how they are doing it, and also we have created a network like they could access that they can access the information easily on WhatsApp and other medias.
Due to economic hardships, access to sanitary pads is considered a luxury in Malawi's rural areas. For Rainbow News, I am Yohane Chidea.
Trade unions have described the growing pool of unemployed professionals in Malawi as a loss of labor, a key production ingredient that can spur economic and social growth if well utilized. Malawi Congress of Trade Unions President Charles Kumjenga observes that despite expert labor being crucial, professionals who the job market is unable to absorb are not contributing meaningfully to the benefit of the country. Some unemployed graduates living in Mzuzu said on Wednesday lack of employment has compelled them to venture into other economic activities contrary to their respective professions, which they studied for years. Hastings Lingwa compiled this report, being read by Tuani Luanga.
Some days ago, some trained professionals graduated from the African Bible College with degrees and masters in various fields of study in Lilongwe, adding to the list of 1,000 other graduates. However, the odds of getting employment for all is near zero, as the number of unemployed professionals keep on piling up in Malawi each year, since the job market cannot absorb all job seekers. Malawi Congress of the Trade Unions (MCDU) has since described the growing pool of unemployed professionals as a continuous loss of expert labor, which is required to spur economic and social growth. MCDU President Charles Kumjenga observed on Thursday that such professionals are not contributing meaningfully to the benefit of the country, regardless of investment in human capital development.
If the market is showing that the greater part is telling us that unemployment is growing, it means we are losing a lot, because had it been that they are on the market and they are producing, we would have been saying these people are making profit on the market. Now, if they are not, then even the country is not producing anything.
Some unemployed graduates living in Mzuzu said lack of employment has compelled them to venture into other economic activities contrary to their respective professions which they studied for some time in classes. Malawi is today not short of trained graduates in key areas of socio-economic development such as mechanical and civil engineering, health, education, agriculture, tourism and journalism, among many others.
Roads Authority has been lashed out by lawmakers over construction of substandard roads as well as an even distribution of roads in the country. While acknowledging the concerns, the RA Acting Chief Executive Officer Francis Itimo attributed the development law funding as one of the main contributing factors. Officials from the authority on Thursday appeared before Parliamentary Committee on Statutory Authorities and State Enterprises in Lilongwe. Emmanuel Chilemba has compiled this report.
The committee's chairperson Isaac Koneka made the remarks on Thursday during their meeting with officials from Laws Authority. He alleged that Laws Authority is not distributing the Laws projects evenly, saying some areas there are many roads projects than in other areas. Koneka questions Laws Authority over the issue of potholes in most public roads, a development which he described as worrisome.
Do you take that? Because one, they're talking of funding, at the same time they're talking of classification. Now, which is which? If they've got enough money, but they're failing because of it, why not concentrate on those roads and do them better? They can't talk of no funding, but at the very same classification. They must tell us they don't have money, so that we can see how we can assist them. They're talking of classification. Classification hasn't come today. Classification came long way back. That's how the roads are classified. But we're talking of those roads which they are responsible for maintaining. They're the ones which are worse than even those in the villages.
Roads Authority Acting Chief Executive Officer Francis Etimu acknowledged the situation but was quick to attribute the development to lack of funding.
The key issue that we're explaining to the committee is that our mandate is to carry out maintenance on the public road network, and we were explaining to them what the public road network is. We are talking of what we call main roads, secondary roads, tertiary roads, district roads, and urban roads. But we were also explaining to the committee that we are mindful that there are other roads which are not classified into these classes, and I think that was the focus mainly by the committee on how these roads can also be attended to.
The development comes at a time when most of the public roads are in bad shape. For Rainbow News, this is Emmanuel Chirempa.
You are watching Rainbow's Exclusive 60. We are taking a commercial break. Stand by.
Beyond your home, away from home. Beyond quality. Beyond expectations. Crossroads Hotels, Malawi's elegant and luxurious hotels. Free Wi-Fi, laundry services, 24-hour room service, conference facilities, fitness center, and all you need in a place to call home. Visit us and experience hospitality and excellence beyond your expectations in both Blantyre and Lilongwe. For more details, contact the following numbers.
Hi-Fi Electronics introduces Hi-Fi Events. Hi-Fi Events offers special services like stage platform, PA system, musical instruments hiring, events planning and management, promoting brands and products, graphics and videography, and many more. We are situated in Lilongwe, Area 3, next to NBS Bank, and also at Game Complex, next to Jubiku Stores. For more information, call us on the following numbers. Think events, think Hi-Fi. Crossroads Academy. Music Crossroads Academy. Music Crossroads Academy offers special programs like music lessons and instrument training, ICT, fabrication and welding, fashion design and tailoring, shoemaking, and many more. Register today at our Creative Training Campus at Majika, Area 23 in Lilongwe. For more information, call us on 0999 916 799 or 0996 405 254. Email mcmalawi@music-crossroads.net.
Welcome back to Exclusive 60. Moving on, primary school teachers that were trained under IPTE 14 program have given government a 7-day ultimatum to recruit them, for which they are threatening to hold vigils at Capitol Hill in Lilongwe. The teachers are also claiming that government is planning to recruit women with MSCE certificates as women learner mentors, a position they believe they are better qualified for. Spokesperson in the ministry, Chikondi Chimala, acknowledged receipt of a letter from the teachers and promised to engage them. Nyandema Mhango has the detail.
On Wednesday, the 14 teachers stormed offices of local government to deliver a petition that is asking government to recruit them fairly, which they will hold vigils at Capitol Hill in Lilongwe. The primary school teachers have also been infruited by government on their plan to employ women with MSCE qualification as women learner mentors. Deputy spokesperson for the 14 teachers, Kuyankhula, said their group has capable ladies who can take up the task and are demanding a clarification on the same.
We want the government to come clear on employing Form 4 girls to act as mentor teachers, and yet in all the cohorts we have young and single lady teachers who are well trained, experienced, and qualified that they can complement what the government wants.
However, Ministry of Education, through its publicist Chikondi Chimala, said over 6,900 are to be recruited this year and 3,500 others will be observed on auxiliary basis.
They are not replacing us. These are just learner mentors to help guide the girl child, who is at most times disadvantaged. So we want to encourage the girl child to have somebody to look up to when there are some issues, some challenges. So these are learner mentors. They are not the teachers to replace teachers. No. Teachers are going to be recruited under a different program altogether.
For years, recruitment of civil servants like nurses and teachers continue to be an issue, as usually government blames it on unavailability of resources. Reporting for Rainbow, this is Nyandema Mhango.
It has been established that lack of funds is said to be one of the contributing factors to increasing challenges that people with disabilities face in Chinji District. District Makoha Officer Master Kachuli says the office is planning to conduct awareness sessions on how communities can handle people with disabilities that require serious attention. This comes against the background that 32-year-old Juliet Braxton with paralyzed legs from Traditional Authority Nyoka of District is sleeping near a specially made toilet inside her house since 2018 after relatives refused to be nursing her. More details by Patrick Nurenda. We do not have that report right now, but now let's cross over to entertainment news. Government's decision banning South African controversial dancer Zodwa Wabantu continues to receive mixed feelings, with some supporting it while others are condemning authorities. Now, gender activist Beatrice Mateo claims she does not see the merit in the decision to bar the South African from stepping foot into Malawi. Zodwa Wabantu made fame with her half-nude stage acts and was slated to perform at Winter Amapiano Vibes on 10th June in Blantyre. More details by Tumbiko Gondwe.
It is now obvious that patrons of Winter Mapiano vibes will not see Zodwa Wabantu, controversial South African dancer who is famed for her half-nude stage acts. This follows Ministry of Tourism clear instruction to its counterpart Homeland Security to block Wabantu's entry into Malawi. However, one of the organizers, Lumuli Mwamondwe, believes they will save the situation through legal redress.
Well, it's so political. I mean, to me it sounds so political because they are failing to block corruption to come into the country, but they are able to block something that will just someone who just come to entertain them for just a day.
Gender activist Beatrice Mateu is not amused with the decision by government, arguing the reasons from the government on banning Zodwa Wabantu are not making sense.
That is wrong. It is stifling the right of her to enter into this country. So I'm saying if they had any reasonable reason, a criminal reason, or anything that is based on the law, it would have made sense. But this is just someone deciding on moral reasons, which are very subjective, that the person should not come into the country. And it is setting a very bad precedent.
Meanwhile, the Winter Mapiano Vibes is proceeding as earlier planned, held at Dominic's Hotel in Blantyre on 10 June 2022. For Rainbow News, this is Tumbiko Gondwe.
And as the country is awaiting to crown 2022 Miss Culture Beauty Queen on 2nd July in Blantyre, our arts and entertainment reporter Chisomo Nyirenda gives an overview of how the journey has been, with 15 finalists now competing at the grand finale at the Marilis Hotel.
2022 Miss Culture Beauty Pageant received overwhelming response from models, as this year 75 girls applied to participate. Now, 15 models are remaining after being assessed and interviewed by judges, and are expected to battle it out for the crown on 2nd July at Amaryllis Hotel in Blantyre. Now, Rainbow will take you through to appreciate the models that are interested to be crowned as 2022 Miss Culture Beauty Queen and their ambitions. Anina Fejunga, a 23-year-old queen based in Lilongwe, believes bagging the crown would propel her further to achieve her dream and efforts in working with girls and the less privileged. Another finalist, Hazel Rwanda, a 23-year-old social worker, is passionate about development and self-management initiatives. Flawless Mkandawire is the youngest among the finalists, with 20 years, and hopes to use the platform to fight discrimination against lean people and reduce the cultural difference gap. Ruth Masamba is a Malawian based in South Africa who is currently Miss Malawi, Cape Town. Not new to the beauty pageants, Madalo Malunga, aged 22, has also participated at Superstar Search for Miss Supra National. 22-year-old Eunice Senzani was crowned Miss NRC and Miss Glam and Glory Rwanda in 2019. Likewise, Kalista Kachulu, aged 23, is no newbie to beauty pageants, as she was crowned Miss CU 2019, Miss Valentine North first runner-up, and Miss Zuri Africa Malawi finalist. Yvonne Chanaje was the first princess for Miss Hangout 2021 and an entertainment director at Nalihule College. And Mildred Mingoshi, a student at Malawi Assemblies of God Magu, has so far won Miss Chichiri Secondary School in 2017 and Miss Magu 2019. Susan Moyo, 26, has once represented Malawi at the Miss University Africa, a franchise now run by Lash Africa. Now, Rukia Jusub, a 24-year-old queen based in Mzuzu, hopes to use the crown as a platform for the betterment to the overlooked significant cultural practices. Memory Sanjira, 23, looks at the crown as both an honor and a responsibility. To El Shaddai Masauli, the Miss Culture Malawi crown will mean taking a risk of pursuing her passion towards young people on a large scale. Christina Mavuto, 23, is no stranger to the fashion and beauty industry, as she is a renowned fashion model and is the 2019 UMP Model of the Year. Likewise, Tenjiwe Loya has appeared in Trendy magazine as Model of the Year 2021. The winner of the contest this year will, among other prizes, be granted a scholarship to study community development at Exploits University. For Rainbow, I'm Chisomo Nyirenda.
And now let's go over to the business desk with Chisomo Nyirenda.
My name is Chisomo Nyirenda, giving you the business segment. Contradictorily, government policies are said to be one of the major setbacks in the country's agriculture commercialization drive, which is failing to gather momentum. Stakeholders led by President Lazarus Chakwera met on Thursday at the Bingu International Convention Center to discuss the country's agricultural commercialization and investment. Meanwhile, the president has since ordered Ministry of Agriculture to kickstart the Mega Farms project as a step towards scaling up commercial agriculture. Leah Malegano was at the BICC and gave us this report.
Malawi's economy largely depends on agriculture, particularly crops like maize and tobacco. But the sector is crippled with a lack of agricultural infrastructure such as irrigation and road networks. Climate change has also a say on agricultural performance. However, some of the setbacks are as a result of lack of financing in the sector. National Planning Commission Director General Thomas Muntali blames contradictory policies.
Having so many policies, laws, but the quality of them sometimes is not up to speed. So you have, for example, a crops bill that is coming on stream where it's saying certain foreigners cannot buy certain things and so on. That prevents people from investing.
On the other hand, Mabata Institute Executive Director William Chadza says there is a need for government to start significantly allocating and investing in projects that are crucial in the agriculture sector.
If we have to take advantage of the demand for various agricultural products out there, we need to build up the numbers in terms of quantities. So we can only do that if we improve our productivity.
Meanwhile, only 30% of the farmers use machinery and the rest use handheld hoes, as many cannot afford to buy modern equipment and farm inputs, limiting production volumes. For Rainbow, this is Leah Marekano.
Economic Association of Malawi has advised government to come up with serious alternative policies in an effort to address the current forex scarcity in the country. Speaking to Rainbow, Executive Director for EGAMA, Frank Shigura, says though forex scarcity is not new, the effects of the situation remain a challenge, adding there has to be measures that can enforce economic management. This is coming a week before the body is to host a panel discussion at the BICC on 14th June to discuss the country's forex situation with both government and the private sector. Catherine Muntali has more in this report.
The EGAMA Executive Director says the panel discussion will look into comprehensive issues that should be able to highlight the gaps that are making forex scarcity persistent. He adds, as a think tank, the body has since time immemorial assisted government with analytical insights of the country's national budgeting to ensure economic management, but adds that time has come for the country to find alternative policies.
The issue can be discussed comprehensively so that we come out with points on what we are doing wrong as an economy for us not to get enough export revenue, to have enough export foreign exchange reserves, and from there we'll come up with actionable points.
Currently, the country's national debt continues to soar at an alarming rate of 60% of the GDP. This is attributed to, among others, ever-widening budget deficits that fiscal authorities are not committing to close. However, Chikuta is optimistic government can address the situation by stimulating economic growth.
It is measured as a ratio of the size of the economy. So once you grow the economy and the economy is large, you find that the debt ratio will reduce automatically, even without any active action on the part of the government.
The country's forex situation has affected several industries and livelihood, forcing the central bank to devalue the kwacha. Authorities are now pushing for a 4-year extended credit facility with the IMF to bring balance of payment support and unlock donor aid to bring the economy to stability. For Rainbow, this is Catherine Muntali.
An extra 20 billion kwacha is what the National Food Reserve Agency needs to purchase 217,000 metric tons of maize to fill its storage facilities. Board chairperson for the agency, Dennis Kaligeni, disclosed this when they appeared before the Parliamentary Committee on Agriculture and Irrigation on Thursday. But the committee's chairperson, Samia Suleiman, has told NFRA to begin the maize purchase with its allocated 12 billion kwacha budget, as vendors are already on the ground. Rachel July was at Parliament and now reports.
The National Food Reserve Agency Board chairperson, Dennis Kaligeni, did not miss words. He told the Agriculture Committee of Parliament that they only have 62,000 metric tons of maize out of the required 217,000 metric tons. He added the current 12 billion kwacha government has released will only manage to buy 50,000 metric tons, still leaving a huge deficit. Kaligeni has since called on the government to consider increasing the allocation on the maize purchase with an extra 20 billion kwacha to cater for the exercise.
The estimate that was provided in 2016 indicates that as NFRA we are supposed at any point in time keep an amount of maize with 217,000 metric tons. But as we're talking right now, as we're meeting the committee, we have about 62,000 metric tons. Part of that 62,000 metric tons again is still with ADMAC and we are yet to collect it. And therefore you can see that the gap is quite huge.
Meanwhile, the committee chairperson has asked the agency to start procuring maize with the money in its custody to prevent some vendors from depleting the available maize from the farmers. On Wednesday, the committee stopped the Agriculture Development and Marketing Corporation, ADMAC, from proceeding with its intention of selling 100,000 metric tons of maize to Zimbabwe's Grain Millers Association. It further ordered ADMAC management to terminate the sale agreement until a comprehensive assessment of Malawi's food situation is done. For Rainbow, I am Rachel July.
The struggling state-owned Malawi Housing Corporation claims it has intensified efforts to increase the number of its houses in a bid to meet the current housing demand in the country. This is according to the press statement that the institution released on 9 June 2022 that it has planned to construct 25,000 houses every year. Spiwelongwe has more.
The Malawi Housing Corporation has disputed reports that it intends to sell more of its houses to current occupants, saying it already has few houses on its portfolio that cannot sustain its operations. On this point, the company says it intends to build more houses in the urban areas which have huge housing deficit that requires construction of 25,000 per year for 5 years. However, spokesperson Ernestina Lunguzi, in an interview, said the current construction of houses is based on the finances they have, saying they recently completed construction of 240 houses in Blantyre and Lilongwe.
Well, as my housing corporation, we construct houses based on the finances that we have. We have capacity to construct more houses than the houses that we construct. So, as of the last project that we had, we constructed 240 houses. But that is not our limit of construction. We can construct more finances, if the finances are available to do so.
She further said that they are still in the planning process for the next project to start, but could not elaborate more. The Malawi Housing Corporation Board unveiled an ambitious plan to demolish old houses where it developed residential areas in order to modernize the areas with high-rise residential buildings as part of addressing the acute housing challenges and developing in the cities. For Rainbow, this is Spiwelongwe.
That's all we had in the business segment. My name is Chisoma Yorinda.
Thank you so much, Chisomo Nyirenda. And now let's finish with the sports. Netball lovers in the country will have to pay 2,000 kwacha to watch Kosana netball games per day in Blantyre. Netball Association of Malawi, which is the local organizer of the tournament, says they will have security measures to ensure that one ticket is not being used by more than one person on a particular day. NAM General Secretary Isaac Chumala says the team is ready as the Kosana tournament is part of the Commonwealth Games preparations. Paul Kalaji from Blantyre with a report read by Ian Dege.
2,000 kwacha has been set as entry fee for one to watch the Kosana games per day. Local organizer of the Town Netball Association of Malawi NAM says strict security measures will be put in place to ensure that one ticket is not being used by more than one person on a particular day. NAM General Secretary Isaac Chimwala says the team is ready as the Kosana tournament is part of Commonwealth Games preparations.
So far the preparations are going well, and we have now managed to bring in Namibia and Zimbabwe to play against Malawi. The three teams will play in a tri-nations tournament. The whole idea is basically to give chance to our coach to assess performance of the whole team and the individual players, how good they are, the stamina and the preparedness, both mentally, physically, and see how the team is able to coordinate using an international friendly. So the games will take place this coming Saturday. We're starting on the 12th of June until the 16th. The games will take place at the College of Medicine. So we believe that this will give the coach a good opportunity to assess the performance of the whole team. So far, so good. The team is ready for the Commonwealth, but we're still moving on with the preparations since there's still a month.
The tournament, which will be played for 5 days, will have minimum of 2 games per day. Kosana games slated for Blantyre will be held between 12 to 16 June. The tournament will also involve junior teams from 3 participating countries of host Malawi, Zimbabwe and Zambia.
Publicity Secretary for the Chess Association of Malawi, Alfred Chintele, has described the 2022 National Chess Championship as a platform to sharpen talent for the senior national chess team, which will be participating in the Chess Olympiad next month. Furthermore, the tournament will also hit youthful players, and Chintele describes it as something which will also elevate skills of the junior national team, which will be participating in Africa Youth Chess Championship in Zambia. Romeo Omali has a report.
Another chess championship is up for grabs this weekend, as it has now come to Lilongwe after previously being hosted in Mzuzu. The tournament is dubbed the 2022 Malawi Open Chess Championship, which is being sponsored by FIDE Open Aid in Lilongwe. There are 4 categories of ladies, men, youths and veterans, where at the end the successive ones will be awarded with cash prizes, trophies and medals. Chess Association of Malawi Chess and Publicity Secretary Alfred Chintele says this will be helpful for the current national teams, which are busy preparing for the forthcoming international tournaments.
This tournament will act as a preparation for our national team, which is expected to play at the World Chess Olympiad in Chennai, India, next month. And also for the youth section, we have a team that we are sending to Lusaka, Zambia on July 2 to 10 to play at the Africa Youth Chess Championship. So this tournament basically has come at the right time.
Previously in May, Chessam also hosted a similar tournament in Mzuzu, which selected players to represent Malawi at the Chess Olympiad in India. However, in December last year, the youthful national chess team won several gold and silver medals at the African Schools Individual Chess Championship in Kenya. For Rainbow Television, I am Romeo Omari.
Sports analyst Higam Kandawire believes the absence of the Super League this weekend will have no effect on the league's first round deadline. Previously, Super League of Malawi announced there will be no league games this weekend because of the international FIFA window. And moving forward, for the first time, Zomba Airbase Football Club has intensified its aim of qualifying into the Super League, as the team is currently topping the Southern Region Football League Premier Division with unbeaten record after playing 9 successful matches. Our reporter in Zomba, Tendai Chavungama, reports.
The vigilance of Zomba Airbase in the Southern Regional Premier Division excites football lovers in the old capital city who have been complaining that the district has Red Rounds as the only Super League outfit. Airbase Football Club attributes the current glory to the sharp striking force comprising of Felix Mwenikulu, William Muhanga and Zaid Chinkango. The team's general secretary says, given an opportunity to go into the Super League, they have what it takes to make Zomba proud. Instead, J.S. Samzinga, one of the team's prolific strikers, Felix Mwenikulu, says, as a team, they are set to battle it out in the top flight league. One of the supporters, Zebediah Ziovo, believes the current team's performance is giving them hope that they can make it and will continue giving the team all they need support. If the ghost of football smiles at the Zomba Airbase side, the city will have 2 teams.
And the African Cup of Nations between the Malawi national team, the Flames, and Guinea, which is underway in Guinea, is still at 0. Guinea is dominating in the match with at least 2 goals that were offside. Flames, however, has improved in the second half with some substitutes. And our last item in the segment, local performers of car spinning sport have been plans to have a fully registered association in the near future. Christopher Pili, who is the top of the car spinners in the country, has told Rainbow that they have already engaged a sports umbrella body, Malawi National Council of Sports, and the Ministry of Sports on the same. But one of the sports analysts, Pari Chinyama, has asked the said performers to first have proper structures, saying for a long time different associations have been established with no progress in terms of operations, which is a worrisome development. Paul Kalaje with the details, but read by Ian Dege.
The newly introduced sport, car spinning, is said to be getting momentum. One of the top performers of the sport in the country, Christopher Pili, said they are planning to have a fully registered association, as is the case with other sport disciplines.
We have done halfway of registration of our sport, and we have done it in our group as N Performers Motorsport Malawi. As of now, we are only waiting for the response, because we've submitted all documentations, and of all angles we have seen that the response is very good. People are very happy about it.
But one of the sports analysts, Paris Nyama, has asked them to first have proper structures, including offices and a constitution.
I think this is one of the very exciting exports that have been done. I know they've copied it from Europe and other countries in the West, that this is happening. It is an exciting sport, but we really need to tread carefully on how we're going to establish these sports. That they've got the specific areas where they do the specific roles that they do. However, I'm very skeptical on how this is going to be in the future. Unless they've got their own constitution, they've got to register. There was 2-3 individuals who are excited to come up with an association. If they go, is this going to be a going concern? So if it is, then we are good to go.
Currently, the sport is being performed by few individuals under M Performance. So far, they have performed in Blantyre and Zomba districts for free.
And with that item, we have also come to the end of this week's latest package of Exclusive 60. Before we go, a recap of our top stories. Government disowns a 15 billion kwacha debt in local councils. Chakwera gives the Ministry of Agriculture 6 months to show results. More legal experts back Anti-Corruption Bureau to have prosecuting powers. Unemployed primary school teachers give authorities a 7-day ultimatum. We had the business, the sports segment. And on behalf of the entire newsroom crew, this has been Catherine Montani. Many thanks for watching. Bye for now.
nthawi imene chilungamo chidziyenda se ngati madzi yafika.
Kutsukuluza tikati kutsukuluza ndiye kuti aina anachapa ndiye kuti chotse thovu ndazi nzace sopo osalira mmeneko ndiye kutsukuluza.
Kufotokoza mosapsatira